with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. My name is Sam Seder. This is the five-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Hamas accepts UN and U.S.-backed ceasefire resolution. Israel still wants to attack Gaza. Meanwhile, Sam Alito laid bare in secret recordings at a Supreme Court charity gala. Also on the program today, UN says both Hamas and Israel may have committed war crimes over the raid, which rescued 4 and killed nearly 300. Republican primaries in Maine, Nevada, North Dakota, and South Carolina today. Kevin McCarthy going Nancy Mace hunting. South Carolina. Meanwhile, across the country, violent crime down 15% nationally in 2024. Murders and rapes down by over 25% for the first quarter of 2024. Meanwhile, dock workers threaten strike at U.S. seaports on both the East and West Coasts. And the Teamsters president has requested speaking time at both the Republican and Democratic conventions. This just in, jury convicts Hunter Biden of 3 felonies. Hunter Biden is now a convicted felon. Ladies and gentlemen,
Biden
of
gets
course,
the black vote back.
This is going to help Joe Biden, with obviously with minorities, according to the
right wing
Trump formula.
Yep.
And maybe, for that matter, parents, because they all have kids who get in trouble sometimes.
Good point.
Speaking of polls, poll of Jewish Americans. They plan to vote against Donald Trump in numbers greater than 2020 this time around. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau rules that medical debt cannot impact credit rating anymore. This is going to impact 15 million Americans and is predicted to lead to 22,000 additional mortgages. Never mind car loans, business loans, other types of, home equity loans, personal loans, credit card rates, all that and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. People are going crazy. Mavigland.
What are they going crazy for?
About this news about Hunter Biden. Folks are saying that Hunter Biden is our nation's Mandela. Nolito, justice for all has been served.
You're not, you don't respect the rule of law.
There you go.
You shat all over it.
Hunter.
That's what you did. And we know it now.
Nolito says we can all rest easy in our homes now that Hunter Biden's been convicted. We no longer have to worry that drug users with guns are a threat to us all. Et cetera, et cetera.
Fighting crime.
No, what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be saying, oh my gosh, our country as we know it is under attack. The justice system politicized to go against our most patriotic of
This
patriots.
is exactly what Biden wants.
Yes.
Look, let's be clear. If they can go after Hunter Biden, they can go after any of us. But we will we'll talk more about that as we continue the program. First, we are now. What is the official day? I vote now early voting. So I don't know. But when is the Democratic primary is June 25th. Okay,
In New York.
in New York State, and
But early voting, I think, opens up in a few days. The 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, but you can also do mail-in balloting. You can pick that up now, as far as I know, up until I think early voting starts. In the New York's 17th district, you have Jamal Bowman, the incumbent, is being challenged by the Westchester County Executive George Latimer for this congressional seat. Latimer is on the receiving end of perhaps, I think, the single biggest dump of money, period, by outside expenditures in a primary, certainly within a Democratic primary. And 90% of which comes via APAC-affiliated outside expenditure groups, DMFI, and then there's another one, actually, that they're using.
UDP, the United Democracy Project, which is sort of the whitewasher because they want it to be less associated.
Right. This is like a Clean Skies initiative from the Bush administration type of stuff.
Much of it is Republican money being dumped into a Democratic primary. I think
The
Bowman's-
single biggest recipient of Republican money.
Yep. Trying to make that clear.
In the primary. Now, it makes sense because Latimer is on record saying he would not vote to increase taxes on wealthy people. One of the key sort of planks of Joe Biden's reelection campaign. He has said that the reason why Bowman won his election in the first place was because black people were allowed to vote by mail-in ballots. And also, to be fair, because of George Floyd.
Oh, right. The George Floyd effect.
He's an incredible, he's scummy. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
He hasn't disclosed his personal finances. He was supposed to do so by law in December or when he officially declared. Either way, he's months overdue, which begs the question, what do you have to hide?
And listen to how he goes after. I mean, I honestly don't remember a race where there was this much race baiting in a Democratic primary in many cycles. I'm sure maybe there's some that I'm just not aware of, but this is the most high-profile race baiting Democratic primary I've seen in ages. And honestly, I mean, I know I should not be shocked, but I am shocked that the Democratic establishment has not distanced themselves from this guy Latimer. Here is a snippet from their debate. I guess this was last night.
Their agenda. And make no mistake about it, Jamal's got his own agenda. He's been endorsed by the DSA. They have an agenda to wipe out Israel. They have an agenda to lift sanctions on Russia. He accuses me of being pro-Russian. Give me a break. The DSA is pro-Russian and pro-Iran and pro-North Korean. He went begging for their endorsement last week when he got it. And the Justice Democrats, I use the word in quotation marks, that intend to destroy the Democratic Party in order to radicalize it. This is what's wrong in Washington. You've seen rational government in White Plains that has advanced us in every area of public policy, all the host of things that we've done. And he will tell you that what we've done in White Plains isn't good enough. What we've done is accomplish things. What he's done is give speeches all across the country. And when you get as much money as you get from outside the district, your constituency is Dearborn, Michigan.
All right, pause it for 1 second. Before we get into his racism, For George Latimer to even bring up outside money from outside of the district is, I mean, aside from being one of the most like audacious, sort of like factually speaking, misrepresentations that I can possibly remember. It's just incredibly bogus. He is getting all of his money, not just from outside of his district, but outside the party.
It's Karl Rovian.
It is totally Karl Rovian. This is the best I could say about him is it's completely old school Republican dirty tactics.
Well, because as you mentioned, the money that he's getting is not traceable in the same way that someone like Jamal Bowman, who is relying on small dollar donations, in the way that it is. And we know that AIPAC is funneling money into these shadowy groups that are funding campaigns like this. And it seems like they think that Jamal Bowman is the easiest target for them to take out, to say, like, see, we have a win. We're able to punish people for being pro-Palestinian. Even if public opinion is moving away from us, we are still able to get somebody out of Congress and deliver for the right-wing pro-Israel lobby. And in case you guys didn't, you missed it, Dearborn, Michigan was mentioned there.
Well, we're just about to listen to it.
Okay.
Here, go. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Is give speeches all across the country. And when you get as much money as you get from outside the district, your constituency is Dearborn, Michigan. Your constituency is San Francisco, California. It's not Harrison. It's not Tuckahoe. It's not Scarsdale. You're not even there to be part of the events of those communities. So I think, what has to happen in the next 2 years is you send somebody to Washington.
He is arguing, I mean, he's basically talking about Dearborn, Michigan, because that's where there's a high concentration of Muslims and Palestinians and Arab Americans. And I guess the San Francisco thing is what is supposed
liberals.
To be. Well, I mean, and I should correct myself. I said the 17th, New York 16th district.
No, it's 17, not 16.
It's the 16th district.
Are you almost...
Yes.
Oh, it says 16th? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. It's the 16th district. And I said 17. And the idea that San Francisco is any more liberal than New York 16th is absurd.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, is he running against Nancy Pelosi? Like, I'm unclear what the deal is here.
He's using the attacks that Bowman used on Elliot Engel, that he was never in the district, or that AOC used against Joe Crowley, where it's not, I mean, you can have your criticisms of Jamal Bowman, but I think he's fairly intimately involved in his district. He was a school principal, school teacher, educator before he ran for Congress. I just think that attack falls pretty flat, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this race. We have links, and we'll put links up for phone banking for Jamal Bowman, both from the WFP and the DSA. Also, links to canvassing if you want to get involved in canvassing. I mean, there's no way Jamal Bowman is going to even come remotely close to being able to compete with Latimer in terms of money. I don't know. We haven't seen the latest figures, but 2-1, 3-1. It's going to be extraordinary how much he is outspent. The way that Bowman's going to win this race is if people mobilize by calling into the district, by canvassing in the district, by talking to people who live in the district. Very important race, both in terms of like Jamal Bowman being a very good congressperson from a progressive perspective, right? I mean, a member of the squad, but also in terms of sending a message that Republican money should not be determining the outcome of Democratic primaries, particularly in New York State.
Yeah.
I mean, really anywhere. But I mean, this isn't,
and this
isn't South Carolina we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a blue district in New York State, and the biggest amount of money is going to be coming from Republican billionaires.
And when he mentions Dearborn there, by the way, that's where Rashida Tlaib, that's part of her district. That's what she represents. So it's a dog whistle in many ways. Can you imagine if Bowman had said that about a primarily Jewish part of the country?
Oh,
like,
no.
I mean, Islamophobia is so baked into our discourse right now, I think in part because it's an institutional part of our foreign policy. But it's just incredible what people can get away with saying, and it's just open bigotry like that.
I mean, this honestly should be something that Hakeem Jeffries comes out, and instead of like sort of being on the sidelines here, he should be coming out and telling Latimer we don't want that kind of bigotry in our Democratic primaries.
I also just say him saying Bowman doesn't show up to things in his district. Latimer put out this ad just a little bit ago, and he green screened himself into the Bronx.
Oh my God!
He
Seriously?
did, yeah. This part.
I'm George Latimer, and whether you live in Portchester, Greenburgh, or Co-op City, we're fed up with the chaos that's hanging over our heads.
He's not actually.
Trump
Wow,
extremists
that's
in Washington.
amazing.
Do you notice that woman is just sitting there and I don't think moves once in the background? So he posted a photo trying to refute that, saying, "Oh, I did shoot some shots there," but I mean, like,
they sent a camera crew down there to get some B-roll.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, and maybe he had to correct himself with like a second shoot, but there's no way that's not a green screen, right?
That is, it seems like explicitly a green screen to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. You
Yeah,
can't
I'm
even
sure
be
it was-
bothered to head down there for an ad?
Yeah, I'm sure they just were able to scope those quotes behind him so easily without the green screen. I'm
Right,
sure for a political ad, they wanted to go through that much CGI.
And I'm sure people would just be walking behind somebody clearly shooting something and not even like glancing over at the camera to see, hey, what's up here?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, keep going. Let's see if people walking by him.
Right, just nonchalant. I know it's New York, but
Oh, just keep walking by like we're not even here.
Right,
Wow, look at
right.
all those people.
Wow,
Hanging
lots
over
of
our heads.
traffic.
Trump extremists in Washington and a Congress.
All those
spreading
people
lies
walking
and
across.
conspiracy
Nobody's
theories.
seeing anything.
You know me. I took on the NRA to ban gun shows and reduce
Yeah,
gun
and he
violence.
pretends like he's a progressive. We don't need to.
Yeah, get out of here. All right. Couple words from our sponsor today. As part of my ongoing project to get rid of single-use plastics in my home, and also to help my back, so I don't have to carry like a massive jug of gosh knows what chemicals are in the laundry detergent. I have been using Earth Breeze Eco Sheets. They look just like dryer sheets, but what in fact they are ultra concentrated, liquidless laundry detergent. So it's the best of both worlds. Earth Breeze is, cleans like a great detergent, but it's also kind to the planet and your skin, and also saves an incredible amount of space in your apartment or even in your home. I mean, just because you have a big home doesn't mean
Right.
that you need to have like an equally big
You could always use more
jug of
space.
laundry detergent. Right now, you can subscribe to Earth Breeze and save 40%. Go to earthbreeze.com/majority to get started. I want to thank Earth Breeze for supporting the show and, frankly, saving me so much space in my apartment. I can't even believe it. It literally, a pack of these things, I don't know how many washes you get, a bunch of washes out of it, is like, it's like this thick, like this thick. And you take each sheet, you fold it up, you put it in the little, I don't
Drum?
know, not the drum,
Oh.
right into the receptacle.
Oh,
I suppose you could put it in the drum before you put the clothes in. Sometimes I know people do that, but I don't do that.
I do that.
Oh, I don't do that. But you fold it up, you put it in there, bingo, bango, you're done. And so that means that you're not using single-use plastics. You're not using even recyclable plastics for that matter, because it doesn't even recycle 100% regardless. You're not having to carry this junk back from the supermarket. It's a win across all of it. And the best part for me, well, not the best part, but the key part for me, they have a fragrance-free option. EarthBreeze Echo Sheets are dermatologist tested. They are hyperallergenic. They are free of bleach. They are free of dyes. They are free of parabens. EarthBreeze got rid of a bunch of unnecessary chemicals for a formula that's kind to sensitive skin of all ages, including babies like me. With EarthBreeze, there's no more heavy lifting or measuring sticky blue goo from a massive plastic jug. EarthBreeze is lightweight. Its cardboard packaging takes up a fraction of the space in your laundry room versus traditional detergent, or for those of us who don't have a laundry room, underneath the sink.
Right.
That's where I keep all my stuff. EarthBreeze offers flexible subscriptions delivered via carbon offset shipping right to your door for free. Because unfortunately, you'll never run out of laundry, and now you'll never run out of detergent. I am telling you, try this. You will never go back. But if for whatever reason you don't like it, you can get a full refund on your EarthBreeze purchase, no questions asked. These tiny sheets can stop millions of detergent jugs from entering our ecosystems. In fact, 500 million detergent jugs end up in landfills and oceans every single year. 91% of single-use plastic does not get recycled, including the stuff we put in our recycling bins. By the year 2050, the ocean's going to have more plastic than fish. That's according to scientists, I guess. Making a positive impact in the world doesn't have to come at a cost to you. My clothes are clean. They smell great. And I feel like I actually did something good. And also, frankly, I don't have to carry this stuff back from the supermarket.
Very nice.
Right now, my listeners can receive 40% off EarthBreeze by just going to earthbreeze.com/majority. That's earthbreeze.com/majority to cut out single-use plastics in your laundry room. Claim 40% off your subscription. Link in the normal places. Meanwhile, getting close to Father's Day. Have you gotten a gift yet? No. My bet is no. Well, I've got the perfect gift for you for Father's Day, because A, it's a great gift, and B, you can buy it like that. Everybody knows, I think you should know, your parents aren't going to be around forever. Your dad's not going to be around forever. Your mom's not going to be around forever. Your grandfather, if they're still with you, uncles, whatnot. This is the perfect gift for them and for you and for future generations. It is called Storyworth. Storyworth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your parents and important family figures for years and years to come. I want to thank Storyworth for sponsoring the Majority Report. Storyworth is offering $10 off your first purchase at storyworth.com/majority. I've gotten this gift from my dad. I'm going to get one, I think, even for my son.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Because, he's at an age where he's not going to remember these stories. And what I'm doing with my son is, this is your gift to me for Father's Day.
Ah.
That's my new thing now. But my dad, it's a normal thing, and he had actually even said to me a while back, he's like, I know this guy, he did a whole biography of himself. He was like a businessman, and he paid for it, and this and that. My father was all excited because he was mentioning it. I'm like, have I got something for you? I didn't tell him at the time, but I knew I was going to get him this. And what happens is each week Storyworth emails your loved one a thought-provoking question that you get to help to pick if you want. And they just respond to it. And it can be a very simple question. What was your favorite car? Or what was the first time, you felt brave, or whatever it is. And the questions are deceptively sort of like thought-provoking. All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. It could be a paragraph. It could be 10 paragraphs. It could be, I don't know, on and on. It doesn't matter. You're going to get an email copy of your loved one's response and each week over the year. And then at the end of the year, after reading these stories and whatnot,
right.
Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos that you can add into it, into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you're going to be able to share with them, with yourself. You get multiple gifts out of it. And for generations to come, in short, families love Storyworth. Give all the fathers in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you could cherish for years. Storyworth. Right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/majority. That's storyworth.com/majority to save $10 on your first purchase. Okay, let's get back into things. I want to just touch on let's just go over this. Hamas has accepted, and I guess really since yesterday, the UN voted to pass the U.S.-backed ceasefire resolution. It has a 3-phase plan. You may have heard of this before. I think it's slightly different from the thing that Biden had talked about. And I will point out where I think it's slightly different. It starts with an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages in exchange for Palestinians being held in Israeli prisons, the return of displaced Gazans to their homes to the extent that those homes exist, or at the very least, I think into the sort of geographic locations, because I don't know what the latest numbers is, but it has to be close to 75% of like homes have been destroyed in Gaza. And the full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. The second phase calls for a permanent ceasefire with an agreement of both parties. And the third year phase would consist of a multi-year reconstruction plan for Gaza and a return of the remains of deceased hostages. However, the proposal says if the negotiations, and this is the part I think that is a little bit different from what Biden said and what was supposedly keeping the Israelis from signing on to it. If the negotiations take longer than 6 weeks for phase one, the ceasefire will still continue as long as negotiations continue, which means that after 6 weeks, theoretically, Israel could walk away from the table, or I guess theoretically Hamas could. But from the Israelis' perspective, this is one of the things they want. They could walk away from the table and the ceasefire would end. And I think that the idea here is, as Matt put before the show, you get the kid out of the pool and then maybe they don't want to go back in.
That's the idea.
That's the idea.
You can understand how that was a sticking point for Hamas, which has since maybe like February or March broadly agreed to a majority of the conditions in this framework that have remained relatively similar. But that major sticking point for months has been temporary versus permanent. This gives Israel the wiggle room to say maybe they'll go back in, which I would be extremely concerned about. But perhaps Biden's team is giving Hamas basically some sort of assurances behind the scenes.
Well, I don't know how much assurance they can give, but it is Hamas has signed off on this. And here is, now it's become a sort of really explicit. As of yesterday, supposedly Hamas had not agreed to the ceasefire deal, which we saw mixed reporting on. But here is MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell attempting to clarify with Blinken yesterday that very question, and sort of pointing out that it doesn't feel like you're an honest broker between these two parties because aside from the fact that you're funding all of this, you're not stating Israel's position regarding the ceasefire plan.
You say that everyone but Hamas has agreed to this. Benjamin Netanyahu has certainly said otherwise publicly. And the hostage families are saying, you should try everything if this fails. And it's quite possible it will fail with him now toughening his position, more likely, being partners. If this fails, They want you to work through Qatar and deal with Hamas to get the Americans home. And we are reporting at NBC News that that is being discussed as a backup plan, if no other way to get a ceasefire, doing it without Israel agreeing to a ceasefire. Can you tell us about that? And also, if the war continues, won't the Palestinian death toll be unacceptable? As the National Security Advisor in Israel has said, to the end of the year, after such a horrific death toll in getting the hostages out militarily this weekend.
First, let me be very clear. Israel has accepted the proposal. In fact, they were critical in putting it forward.
I don't think
so. The only party. No, that is what the official position of the Israeli government, the Prime Minister. So the only party that has not accepted, the only party that's not said yes, is Hamas. That's who everyone's waiting on. That's who the Palestinians in Gaza are waiting on. It's who the Israelis are waiting on. It's who the hostages and the hostage families are waiting on. It's who the entire region and the entire world is waiting on. And so we'll see. Does Hamas want to end this conflict, end this war that it started, or not? We'll find out. But it's clear that virtually the entire world has come together in support of the proposal. And the only open question is, will Hamas say yes?
I mean, this is just so...
It's insanity.
Make-believe.
It's so make-believe, and I don't know, like who they think that this is working with. But now at least we have, you know, I mean, look here, just put up this. I mean, so now we know that we can, you know, I want you to put up this, this headline from Reuters. And I love how it says, like, Hamas says it accepts.
Right. I mean,
like,
you
what
can't
do they got to
trust
do?
them.
Like, what do they got to do? Normally, you'd say Hamas accepts UN-backed Gaza truce plan. I don't know why it doesn't say U.S. says it cites hopeful sign. But the bottom line is everybody's waiting on Israel.
It's odd because there's just a lot of contradictory tactics here, really all trying to avoid the number one thing that Biden doesn't want to do, which is withhold arms to Israel, which is what makes the most sense. It's all in keeping of like hugging Israel as close as possible, protecting them from being able to say that this was some sort of defeat, because we know that Hamas is increasing its attacks in the north and has started to recruit people, because so there's really a major failure here beyond the security failures on October 7th that the United States is trying to save Israel from in order to hope that it agrees to America's demands here. So they're trying to give them cover in the press, but it's been 9 months. Can we have some sort of reckoning with the fact that a guy like Benjamin Netanyahu is not somebody who responds to a hug? He's somebody who responds to like material threats. And the reality that we talked about yesterday, where Benny Gantz is leaving the war cabinet, means that Netanyahu is even more dependent on his far right coalition members, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, who are saying, we will literally push you out of power if you agree to a ceasefire deal. And that reality hasn't changed for the past few months. So it might be time to stop like hugging in different ways and just withhold arms to force your position. But they're trying to avoid that because of God knows why.
Sunk cost fallacy.
But if you're trying
or just ideology. I mean, who knows?
If you're trying to pressure them in the press, then why are you giving them the cover to say that it's their proposal at the same time? So you can't both give them the strategic victory and then also try to be putting the screws on Netanyahu. It doesn't make any sense from a messaging perspective.
Better invite him to talk in front of Congress.
I guess we'll get a better notion in the next 24 hours. I mean, it's pretty explicit. You're either signing on to the UN resolution or you're not. And if everybody signed on to the UN resolution, let's implement it.
Right.
I just want to touch on this as well. This is good news. And again, you know, you have to take these things with a grain of salt because we're only, this is for Q1 in 2024, but it's consistent with what we've seen. People tend to forget that in 2020, we had a once in a lifetime, hopefully, pandemic that implicated the entire world.
Yeah.
And our society in particular is particularly vulnerable to a pandemic, despite the fact that we're the richest country in the world, despite the fact that we theoretically have the most resources to deal with it. We have the least sort of cohesive social safety net of any country in the West. We had forces in this country that were determined not to lose money and to exploit this opportunity at every turn, and were willing to fund a huge COVID denial program, including the president, frankly, at the time, because, you know, if you can work from home, you want to send the other workers in to go do the work, and you can go enjoy, you know, the benefits. Exactly. And one of the things, you know, as opposed to other countries around the world, we had an increase in violent and crime of all sorts, frankly, much more so than in other countries. And I think a big part of that is, you know, and who was it that we had spoken to about the who had the book on 2020?
Eric Kleinenberg.
Eric Kleinenberg, you know, made the point that like our the fabric of our society is woven in a different way than other societies, and instead of coming together to fight this thing, it actually pulled us apart in many respects. Nevertheless, increasingly, the phenomena of the pandemic, though not COVID itself, is in our rear view mirror, at least in terms of what it did to broad strokes, you know, within our society and the way our society functioned. And as it gets further in the rear view mirror, you start to see things like crime plunging. New numbers show violent crime from January to March dropped 15.2% compared to the same period in 2023. Murders fell 26.4%, and reported rapes decreased by 25.7%. Aggravated assaults decreased during that period when compared to last year by 12.5%, according to the data, while robberies fell 17.8%. Now, look, we're not giving the raw statistics because, A, many crimes go unreported. But there's no reason to believe that there's any more crimes being unreported this year than there was last year or the year before.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason to think that the rate of reporting, whatever it is, has changed. There's also no reason to think that police forces have less of incentive to increase the amount of crimes that are taking place than they did before either.
Right.
Because that's how their budgets are determined.
I mean, if you're going to say that these law enforcement organizations or the FBI are not being truthful or haven't been, because this is how historically we've tracked crime, then you would, I think, have to make the case, why would they want to downplay crime?
Because they want to make Biden look good.
Right.
Well, deep state.
But that's again, you know. So if you want to go down that road, I think that you're in conspiracy-minded cuckooville.
They don't want Trump, so they're lying.
But because law enforcement, we know, trends right. They want more money. By definition, it just makes it more sense for them if they're going to do anything to this or be untruthful about the statistics. They would inflate crime rates.
Yes, but either way, there's no reason to think they're going to be more untruthful this year than last year, et cetera, et cetera. And so, and we should say this is only about 75% of the law enforcement agencies that report, about almost 14,000 of the about 19,000 law enforcement agencies from across the country. But statistically speaking, for these numbers to be incorrect, at least for the first 3 months of the year,
yeah,
that those other whatever it is, 5,000 law the crime would have had to have shot through the roof.
That would have to be all of like the Gotham cities from the Batman
exactly
the Batman trilogy to make up for to say that we're going back down from say a 26.4% murder decrease from the same time period in 2023 for I guess it's around 73%. So for the remaining 27% of those districts or police precincts, they would have to be the most crime-ridden places throughout the country for that to be an increase in murder rates.
We still have 6 more months left in this year. Who knows? Maybe the crime rates will pick up. Maybe they'll drop more. Jeff Asher, criminal justice analyst and co-founder of the consulting firm Datalytics, says it's plausible that this will be, by far, the largest one-year decline in American history. Which is not, shocking in the sense that we're in the wake of a big increase that was a function of a pandemic.
Yeah. And also, this is in keeping with data that we received a few months ago from the FBI, which again just aggregates the statistics from these police agencies, law enforcement agencies, which also showed that murders were down broadly before, I guess, they added some of this data. So it's in keeping with what we've seen as it relates to 2023, now that more information is coming in.
So
that's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
I know there are people who have heavily invested in the idea that somehow there's a lot more crime in this country, not least amongst them Donald Trump, who wants to pretend like this is Gotham, and was all excited to, at the Republican National Convention, talk about how, America has fallen into this sort of like dystopian society. Mm-hmm. But it's just not the case. In the words of Marlowe from The Wire, you want it to be one way, but it's the other way. Now let's go to, this is a great story. Lauren Windsor, who I know we've played some of the audio that she has recorded in the past. She is, she goes around to a lot of these Republican functions. Sometimes she'll put on like a Southern accent, yes, which apparently is very effective.
She's genius.
But she will attend these functions. She'll pay for them. She uses a real name, go to the function, and go up and to be fair, pretend that she's a fan of some of these people and act supportive and get them to talk on the record. And she has done this at a Supreme Court gala last week. What was the name of the gala?
It was for the Supreme Court Historical Society.
The Supreme Court Historical Society. And all the bigwigs were there.
Yeah.
And she paid for her ticket. She went, like I say, in her own name. And she first approached, I don't know what the order in which she did these things, but I don't know if she did Roberts first or she did Alito and his wife first, but it doesn't matter. Let's play the clip from John Roberts, because I am not a fan of John Roberts. I should just tell you, full disclosure. I don't pull up a flag, let's put it that way, in front of my house or my apartment to show my disdain for John Roberts. But here is John Roberts in what I think the people there felt like would be a off-the-record moment, probably, right? There's no reason. She's recording the device. She doesn't have a microphone in her hand. Somehow she records it. We're not quite clear how. And asking John Roberts these questions and basically saying, and she's posing as a Christian conservative herself, And listen to the way that John Roberts responds in a way that I think is like what is indicative of a judicial temperament.
I did want to ask you, like, specifically, like, with everything that's going on right now, it just, it's a very tumultuous time in the country, and I'm just curious, like, from your perspective on the court, like, how do we start to repair the polarization?
Well, I mean, the first thing I think is to tell me when the non-tumultuous time has been here. I mean, you look at the court, what the court was doing in the 60s, what the court was doing during the New Deal, what the court was doing, after Dred Scott and all this. It's kind of a regular thing. People think it's so different and special. It's been pretty tumultuous for a long time.
So you think this is a normal period?
I don't know if it's normal. I mean, since I've been here 20 years, there have been quieter times. But the idea that the court is in the middle of a lot of tumultuous stuff going on, that's nothing new.
I guess I wouldn't say that it's not like it's an innovative thing. It's not new. I guess I really feel like we're at a point in our country where the polarization is so extreme that it might be irreparable.
Oh, I don't think that.
I think
it's extreme is like the Civil War. We did that during Vietnam. People were getting killed, and I was there in Vietnam. This is all right. I mean, it's not all right, but it's not like it's as dramatically different. It's a common thing. People with their own perspective think this is so extraordinary. I don't know.
But you don't think there's like a role for the court in like guiding us toward a more moral path?
No, I think the role for the court is deciding the cases. If I start, would you want me to be in charge of guiding us toward a more moral path? That's for the people we elect. That's not for lawyers.
Well, I guess I believe that the founders were godly, like we're Christians, and I think that we live in a Christian nation, and that our Supreme Court should be guiding us in that path.
Yeah, I don't know that we live in a Christian nation. I know a lot of Jewish and Muslim friends who would say maybe not. And it's not our job to do that. It's our job to decide the cases as best we can.
Well,
it's a much more modest job than other people.
I don't want to monopolize your time. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Not at all.
Thank you so much.
All right, you know what? That's a fairly normal response.
I could have answered the same way.
Yeah, pretty close, right? Like, I mean, I think pretty close. I would have been a little bit more alarmist by people like her, right. Like that she was portraying to be. But, I'm not a Supreme Court justice. This guy responded in the way that, I hope he feels in his head. But B, even if he doesn't feel that way, understands that, like, he's a Supreme Court justice. And I'm not like some dude who, calls into Mark Levin's show. I'm a Supreme Court justice. I know this is, this isn't like a cocktail party at his house. It's it's not a public event. You got to buy tickets.
Right.
But that's the responsible way a normal, well-adjusted person responds when they are one of the most powerful people in the country, maybe one of the 9 most powerful people, one of the 10, 12,
right,
12, 13 most powerful people who aren't billionaires, frankly, in this country. Now, let's listen to what a lunatic who also happens to be a Supreme Court justice sounds like. This is Sam Alito.
To a random stranger, by the way.
Yeah, well, to be fair, she says, I met you last year.
Right, okay.
And it's at like a conservative event, so.
This is not a conservative event.
No, it's a Supreme Court
This
event.
is a Supreme Court Historical Society gala.
Right, okay.
So it's just a random citizen who, of course, could afford the fee, which I would imagine was quite expensive. But this guy's a lunatic.
Hi, I wanted to say hello to you again. My name's Lauren. I met you last year. I think you already met. So anyway, I wanted to tell you, my husband wanted to be here, but at last minute business thing, and just like make sure that you tell Justice Alito that like he is a fighter, and we appreciate him, and he has all the grit. And I know it's got to be terrible what you and your family are going through right now. So I'm just so sorry.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But and I'm sure you don't remember this at all. But what I'd asked you about was about the polarization in this country. About like how do we repair that rift? And considering everything that's been going on in the past year, you know, as a Catholic and as someone who like really cherishes my faith, I don't know that we can negotiate with the left in the way that like needs to happen for the polarization to end. I think that it's a matter of like winning.
Pause it. So she set up this dynamic.
Yeah.
That the country is polarized, and I'm on the right, and it's the left. I don't think we can negotiate with the left. Now she's talking to a Supreme Court justice.
Yep.
There used to be a thing that they would talk about, judicial temperament. That if you talk to anybody who's a lawyer over the age of 50, and you talk to them about a judge, what's the most important thing? They've got to be smart and have judicial temperament. That's what they'll all say. And judicial temperament, when you're talking about like polarization, the way you respond to that with Roberts, it goes like, it's really not that bad. Right. I mean, we've had a civil war in this country. Vietnam almost tore us apart. The New Deal was, you know, we had almost people, there was almost an attempted coup with FDR. I mean, anybody who has like any type of sense, and I'm not even talking about like you need to be intellectual, you know, it's a heavyweight. You need to be like a middling, of intellect, have some vague notion of the history of the country, and just not be a lunatic. And if you're a Supreme Court justice, you should think that you should surpass that bar. Well, here's how he responds.
It is a matter of like winning.
I think you're probably right. I mean, one side or the other is going to win. I don't know. I mean, there can be a way of working, a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, you know, because there are differences on.
Pause it for 1 second. This guy's now saying that there can be a way to live peacefully. Like, what is it that he imagines is going down? We're in like Tim Pool level now, prognostications.
Oh, yeah.
As to where we're going. And he says, but it's difficult. All right, go back a little bit because I want people to like hear where he's going with this. This is really disturbing. I don't know that it's anything terribly different than we had speculated.
Right.
But it's one thing to be speculating about this stuff, sitting in my chair speculating about it. It's another to have him so wedded to this worldview that he feels comfortable talking about it to a total stranger who has said, really, I think you're great and you got a lot of grit. You're a great fighter. I'm a fundamentalist Catholic. I know you are too. And then off to the races.
I mean, there can be a way of working, a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, you know, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. Really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that the solution really is like winning the moral argument. Like people in this country who believe in God have got to keep fighting for that to return our country to a place of godliness.
Oh, I agree with you.
Can we pause that for a sec? Just leave that up on the screen, that quote. I want to return the country to a place of godliness. There, can we just go back 5 seconds so we can look at the quote? Okay. I like people in this country who believe in God, have have got to keep fighting for that, to return our country to a place of godliness. That's what undercover, Lauren says. He says, I agree with you. I agree with you. And then you just get that is all you need to see right there. That's Justice Alito essentially saying that the country needs to return to a place of Christian values. Or what does godliness means? I mean, you can interpret it in a variety of different ways, but oftentimes it just means to a more conservative mindset that can include things from like controlling women's reproductive health to anti-LGBTQ stuff to white supremacy. It can mean a lot of different things.
Well, let's just remember what Roberts said. Roberts pushed back on this notion of like, that's not our job.
Yep.
It's not our job. And I don't think that I don't think that's what we're supposed to do. Meanwhile, he's talking about, and I hope that Joe Biden hears this. There are fundamental things that can't be compromised. For a long time, we heard from so-called moderate Democrats, conservative Democrats, Hillary Clinton back in 2004, we need to compromise over this whole abortion thing. We can find a middle ground. There is no middle ground with these people. There is no middle ground with these people. They are not looking to reduce teen pregnancies, which we were told back in the 1990s and the aughts. They're not looking to reduce the number of abortions. They're looking to take away the right of people to get abortions, period. And then they're going to take away the right for people to control their reproductive systems, period. That's what's going on here. I mean, there was a clip from Turning Point's memo. Maybe I didn't send that, of where you had someone up there, Turning Point's USA, sorry, woman advocating, we need to stop, you need to stop having sex. You need to stop taking birth control. We need to get rid of this stuff. We need to go back to allowing God to control your bodies. This is not hypothetical. This is not, hysterical. This is a Supreme Court justice who's saying, yes, I agree with you. We got to get back to godliness in this country. In fact, he agrees with her so much, he has to say it twice. Go ahead.
Believe in God, have got to keep fighting for that, to return our country to a place of godliness.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because we look at like the decline of our society, the decline of the nuclear family, and liberals, I just feel like, want to see that happen and proliferate. And I think we've been too permissive to say, okay, I understand the Constitution. I understand. I want to interrupt.
Somebody interrupted. All right, there's no more of this. It goes back to 23. And there's no more of that conversation. Okay. So there's Justice Alito, saved by the bell, essentially, in many respects. I was very curious to hear what he was going to say after that point. But,
right. It was revelatory, but perhaps not as unhinged as her conversation with his wife.
Well, that's a high bar.
Yeah.
Because this guy's going on, and here is so Lauren Windsor, she has recorded Alito. She has recorded Roberts. Roberts gives answers that you would anticipate from a Supreme Court justice. Alito wants to return this country to godliness. So she heads over to Martha Ann Alito. Now, Sam Alito was in 2005, I think it was, by Bush, or 6. That's where his confirmation hearings are. And so I just want to say that for context, because Martha Alito is apparently still driven by an article that was written about her in 2006.
About her fashion choices.
Now, I'm not saying if you're married to an unhinged person, you are necessarily unhinged. I would never, ever say anything like that. But Alito has given us a little clue as to where he's at. Right. We also know that Alito, by all accounts, leaked information to the Wall Street Journal about the ACA case back in 2012 because he was mad with John Roberts. And then somebody leaked the Dobbs thing that he wrote to the Wall Street Journal. In a way of jamming, essentially, some of the Supreme Court justices who were obviously in the midst of negotiations with John Roberts to try and split the difference a little bit. But remember, Alito says we have fundamental disagreements that cannot be compromised on.
Right.
So that's pretty consistent with trying to inhibit John Roberts from compromising on the Dobbs ruling. So I'm not saying that Sam Alito is unhinged because Martha Alito is unhinged. I'm saying Sam Alito is unhinged because Sam Alito is unhinged. And so is Martha. Here is Lauren Windsor.
Shared values.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, are you Miss Alito?
I am.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I just met these ladies tonight, but
very cool.
I'm a huge fan of your husband, and everything that you're going through, I just want to tell you that, like,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not okay, though. It's not okay.
It's okay. It's okay because if they come back to me, I'll get them. I'm going to be liberated, and I'm going to.
What do you mean by gay?
There's a 5-year.
All right, pause it for 1 second. Okay. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm going to get revenge.
Don't you worry, I'm going to get them.
This is really important to listen to because there's a lot of things that is revelatory here. First off, Martha Alito is ready to seek revenge on those neighbors. And she's like, what do you mean? And she's about to say, there's a 5-year statute of limitations on defamation. So we are now in 2024. She can't get at them now, but she's convinced that she can get at them within 5 years. So Sam Alito is planning to retire when Donald Trump becomes president.
Oh, that's a great read.
That's what's happening. He wants to be replaced by somebody much younger, and it's going to be Alito times 2 in terms of lunacy. Absolutely guaranteed on that. And I suspect if they've got Alito leaving, they're going to have Thomas leave too. Now, will they leave if Biden's the president? I doubt it. But it's going to be hard for them to hang on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But this is already a conversation she has had because she's not thinking about the 5-year defamation statute of limitations if she doesn't think she's going to do that. I mean, she's staying up at night plotting this out.
Well, do you think that when she says them, she's referring to the neighbors or to the media? I think she's referring to the media based on what she says next.
It could be either way. Whoever it is that she's going to get back.
Because she then goes on to talk about this fashion critic, right? Who at the time, I believe, was working for the Washington Post and is now at the New York Times. Or Bradley, could you look that up? I forget where. Robin Givhan, this particular piece that she's referencing, which Bob Silverman pointed out, and we don't need to get into it, but it's not flaming her for her fashion choices at all. It's just talking about them. But putting that aside for a second, the fact that that's coming out of her mouth in the next sentence means I think she's talking about the mainstream press.
It could be the press. Here we go.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay because if they come back to me, I'll get them. I'm going to be liberated, and I'm going to.
What do you mean by gay?
There's a 5-year defamation statute of limitations.
But I don't know what you mean by gay. Like oh, okay.
Come on, I'll get you. Come on. You know, I was denigrated early on when we first came to town. And the woman then won a Pulitzer Prize. She was commenting on my clothes. She said that I wore a baby blanket one day, and the next time I had on a lazy boy recliner pattern suit. And so when she won her Pulitzer, I called her up and I said, "Hello, is this Robin Gavin of the New York Times?" Yes,
Pause it for 1 second. I just want to remind you, we are not, like 40 seconds into a minute and a half, and she is already laid out, quoted the things from a article about her 18 years earlier to a total stranger.
Yep.
I mean, just imagine that you're out and you sit down next to somebody at a restaurant. You're out with your significant other, and you're meeting somebody else's significant. Hi, nice to meet you. How have you been? I heard that you've gone through a rough time. Oh, you bet I have. And then just unload.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm the Supreme Court Justice's wife. Like none of that. Like we're at a gala. In fact, when you sit down with that other couple, at least there's like some connection there. This is just a random stranger, and the only connection is, I think your husband's wonderful, and you're being attacked.
I mean,
off to the races.
Off to the races. I mean, I'm sure she was well served at the gala, which maybe made her a little bit more willing to speak there. But like that article talks about how she had something on that was baby blue. It's not critical of her. It's just about her fashion choices. I don't find fashion reporting to be like the most important thing in the world, but she places her importance in it so like narcissistically above everything else, where this reporter won a Pulitzer for her fashion reporting, but she's saying it was because she went after her. Yeah, I got news for Martha Annalito here. This reporter didn't just cover the Supreme Court in this one article in the year that she won the Pulitzer. She was doing fashion reporting about a bunch of other people, but she thinks it's because the rest of the liberal media was so intoxicated by how she wrote about my fashion choices, that's why they gave her the Pulitzer, because that's what they do. They come after us. 18 years ago. Yep.
18 years ago. She has been her husband has been one of the most powerful human beings on earth for 18 years. And 90 seconds into a conversation with a total stranger, she is listing off how she was wronged in an article.
It said her clothes are more Red Book than Vogue, more main floor than designer salon. Disgusting. There was something charmingly awkward about her blue cardigan, a cable knit cardigan at a Senate hearing. The sweater has all those connotations of Dan Rather informality, softness, ease, and grandmotherly coziness. And then ... The sweater was also baby blue, which I guess is what she's referring to there. But like, can you imagine? It's just, she's harboring that for that long of a period of time.
I mean, those are fire lines. I see why the author won a Pulitzer, especially if they did call it a baby blanket, which is
well. Gavin refers to it as baby blue, like a security blanket.
Okay.
And it says remember Linus. Like it's something. It's kind of like it's an allusion that like to like the color. But again, it's florid prose. It's not like she's not being like it looked like crap.
This isn't Fashion Police, that show used to with Joan Rivers on E, where they used to tear people up.
If I wrote a line like that and the person was still stewing on it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Dozen and a half.
Oh
years
my
later.
God. I would have reached the pinnacle of writing. Go ahead.
Won her Pulitzer. I called her up and I said, "Hello, is this Robin Gavin of the New York Times?" Yes, it is. I said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You're getting a Pulitzer Prize." I said, "And will you be wearing Balenciaga?" And she goes, "No." I said, "Why not?" She said, "It doesn't flatter me." I said, "Oh, come on. Such a high-end thing. It doesn't flatter you?" And then I said to her, "You know, it's a beautiful day. It's April 2006. I said, "Maybe we'll go outside today in New York. It's really beautiful. Take a walk and enjoy life." She never came after me again, but she went after Jane Roberts again. That's why she got her Pulitzer between Jane and me, criticizing the clothes that Jane put the children in and the clothes that we wore.
But why do you think they're coming after you?
They are.
Pause it for 1 second. I just want to say that, like, honestly, like, this is so too.
You can't even make it up.
I'm so flabbergasted as to her proximity to the amount of power that she is close to. I mean, I've met people who are loons in this way, but never who have been so close to so much power.
Like, she's like, did Cruella de Vil have friends in 101 Dalmatians? Because that's what this seems like. Just
she may have had a sidekick, but
how many times do you think she's told that story about calling up that reporter?
it's not even a good burn. It's just
a
like,
weird
also
story.
I thought it was Balenciaga, but
Balenciaga?
I mean, I'm not, I
pronunciation.
guess, somebody who gives a crap about what people wear, but it's as if like it's a modern day update on a Jane Austen snob character, right? I mean, that's what she sounds like.
It's
the petty, almost like palace gossip of it all about how her children's clothes and the other Supreme Court justices' wives' clothes. I think that's who she's referring to. Roberts'
Yeah, she's talking
wife.
to Roberts. Apparently, the woman wrote about Roberts' clothes after that or something. But
I mean, this article's old enough to vote.
God.
And the clothes that we wore.
But why do you think they're coming after you?
They are.
I mean, like the whole like appeal to have heaven flag was like bullshit, right?
Right. But that's, the other thing is the feminazis believe that he should control me.
Yeah.
So we'll go to hell. He never controls me.
Pause it for one
But, like-
second. So the feminazis believe that he should control me. I'll tell you where she learned feminazis from when she listened to Rush Limbaugh until the day he died. That's where she got that.
Oh, yeah.
This is all, this is your standard Rush Limbaugh listener. And she's saying he does not control me. I mean, this is the one moment where I have a little bit of sympathy for Sam Alito. God.
Yeah.
So we'll go to hell. He never controls me.
But like, I have the same flag.
Yeah, I know.
No, but like a lot of people fly that fucking flag.
Don't worry about it, baby.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all
I should
right.
watch my language.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'm sorry. I did not mean.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, but it makes me so angry.
Don't get angry.
It makes me so angry.
Get angry. Bye, baby. Bye, cat. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow. She's a bad girl.
Cat's escort, Lewis.
Hi, Lewis. Good to see you.
Likewise.
I'm Natasha. Nice to meet you. Hi, Natasha. Yes, we're never going back to Wounded Warriors, I'm afraid.
Isn't that awful, though? Why?
Oh, because of the security, and all that. It's good we did that. We did that. Wonderful. You know.
You really did? Something to be really proud of. Do you know that they created and ran the Wounded Warriors program here?
You would never know that because of how they're trying to
Oh,
persecute.
ignore all that. The reality
I don't
is
need
that-
their approval for anything in my life. I need nothing from them.
You don't, but the problem is that they use you to fuck. Pardon my language. Pardon my language.
Your biography.
Lewis, I like you.
You deserve it. Thank you.
Take care.
They're persecuting you, and you're like a convenient stand-in for anybody who's religious.
Look at me. I'm German. I'm in Germany. My heritage is German. You come after me, I'm going to give it back to you. And there will be a way. It doesn't have to be now, but there will be a way. They will know. Just don't worry about it. God, you read the Bible. Psalm 27 is my song. Mine. Psalm 27. The Lord is my God and my rock. Of whom shall I be afraid? Nobody.
I love that you have that attitude because that's more of what we need. I was telling your husband, I was like, and it should give you like a little bit of background. So I met him last year at this dinner. And I said to him, I was like, this country is so polarized. How do we repair that rift? And he's like, I don't know. It's not our role. And I told him this year, I'm like, for the past year, I remembered our conversation, and I looked at what happened to you and your wife, and I'm like, how is there any negotiating with the radical left? There's not. You cannot negotiate with the radical left. You have to just win.
They feel.
You
They
have
don't think.
No, but you have to win.
Pause it for
And
1
if
second.
we want
Do you hear what she said? They feel. They feel, they don't think. The left feels. This is like
Facts over feelings.
This is like Ben Shapiro level. Like this is.
Yeah.
Well, are we gonna skate over what she said about her German heritage? Look at me.
I mean, the
I don't know what it means, but it could mean meow meow meow. I'm a Nazi.
Yeah, I don't understand. I come from a German family. I've never been like, when people get us, we get them back. Like, what?
I don't know. That's some story. I feel like she's told herself as to like what justifies it, as opposed to her own personal lunacy.
Like, go kaput.
It's ethnically.
Might as well say Teutonic.
It's in my
like
genes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like she's like Teddy Roosevelt or something.
Go ahead.
Just win. They feel.
They don't think.
No, but you have to win. And if we want to take this country back to like a godly place, to a moral place, that means that we actually have to just fucking. Pardon my language again. I'm so sorry.
You know what I want? I want a Sacred Heart of Jesus flag, because I have to look across the lagoon at the Pride flag for the next month.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, please don't put up a flag. I said, I won't do it because I'm deferring to you. But when you are free of this nonsense, I'm putting it up, and I'm going to send them a message every day. Maybe every week I'll be changing the flags. There'll be all
Pause it for
kinds.
one
I made a
second. Just a reminder, the idea that there seems to have been a plan for when you're free of this nonsense. Incidentally, the nonsense is sitting on the Supreme Court as a Supreme Court justice. That's the nonsense that she's referring to. I can't wait until you're no longer one of the 9 most powerful human beings, maybe on the planet. Let's,
Outside
the
of
top
money.
50, let's just say.
Okay.
In terms of influencing the structure of society, so that I can put up flags as a way of fighting back against the rainbow flag across the lagoon. Go ahead.
I'm going to send them a message every day. Maybe every week I'll be changing the flags. There'll be all kinds. I made a flag in my head. This is how I satisfy myself. I made a flag. It's white, and it's yellow and orange flames around it, and in the middle is the word vergogna. Vergogna in Italian means shame. Vergogna. 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 Shame, shame, shame on you. Anyway.
Well, I just wanted to let you know you have a lot of people rooting for you. Thank you so much.
You know what's funny there? It almost feels like Lauren got like nervous.
I was going to say,
I gotta get the hell out of here.
Lauren Windsor ended the conversation. Like, she could have probably been there for another 45 minutes.
Yeah, right. This woman's a lunatic. I have it in my head. It's flames. It's orange. It's white. It's called vergogna.
I can even spell it out for you.
Slowly backing
Incidentally,
away.
this is my idea. I don't want to see this flag anywhere else until the day I fly it myself.
I've been creating all these different templates.
Vergogna.
The corkboard.
Look at me.
Vergogna.
Vergogna. Vergogna.
All of a sudden, Lauren Windsor looks around and the entire room's empty and she's locked in with
You're going to help me make this flag, Lauren.
I've got to get out of here. Oh my God.
Stitching it together, stitch by stitch, stitch by stitch.
Vergogna. Vergogna.
Now I'm going to show you my special flag. If you only fly at midnight.
But if you're at like the bus stop and someone was like, look at me, I'm German. Like, I would be like, I have to get out of here.
Sam, you've got to resign from the Supreme Court. I need to build my flag.
Also,
Vergogna! Vergogna!
Speaking of Germany, Italy.
Just unbelievable. I feel so bad for Samuelito right now. Vergogna! Vergogna!
God, maybe
I don't
we
think
were
she's melodramatic at all.
maybe we were wrong. Maybe she is the crazier one.
Oh no, she is the crazier one. I think it's quite clear. But
Leo's managing an impossible situation right now.
Whoa.
Jesus.
I'm just glad she has her flags to occupy her. I mean, God knows what would happen if she didn't have her little hobbies.
I watched the first Omen last night, and that's what that Vergogna part reminded me of.
Yeah, it's really, honestly.
Summoning something.
Folks, I'm going to head to the fun half. God. We got to be mining that thing for drops, please.
Oh no, I'm
I'm
compiling it.
It's tough because there's a lot of background noise, but yeah.
I mean, not for meow meow meow. That's what I'm adding to my personal little soundboard.
That is amazing. Folks, it's your support that makes this show possible. You can
Can you
become a member
imagine
at
James O'Keefe like backing away from somebody he like that? Like, okay, I think we got enough.
I mean, the Vergonia thing. It sounds like a vampire blood ritual or something, and like you're chained down, and the witch comes. Well, I guess now I'm mixing, but comes over and says, "Vergonia, you'll rue this day."
When I was living in Somerville with Benjamin back in my comedy days, a couple of Seventh-day Adventists knock on the door, and by the time, like 45 minutes later, they're like, "We have to go."
Looking at their watch.
We have to go. That's what it felt
It's like, oh, I'm getting a phone call. I didn't hear your phone ringing. It's on silent.
Oh,
Laura Windsor's there with the biggest scoop of her life, and she's like, "I gotta get out of here. I'm afraid of this woman."
She gets invited to the second location.
Wait, where are you going? Where are you going? Wait a second. I didn't tell you about the second flag.
You can come back to my.
Wait, what about the other flag I made? I only told you about one.
I have so much more. I'm ready to spill.
What is that? What is that? The German word for the knife in the back?
Durchschlusslegende.
What about my Durchschlusslegende flag? Wait a second. I didn't tell you about it.
We should check to see if Vergonia actually is like a Nazi thing, and if it's not, we should make T-shirts.
Yeah, I think if you search Mussolini Vergonia, I think you'll probably find something.
But if it's not, we should make Vergonia T-shirts and steal her idea.
Oh, definitely. Oh, we should definitely.
Like with all of the things she
flag.
describes there.
We got to get the flag. We've got to draw the flag.
I know. I mean, honestly, she might truly lose it at that point.
Make a killing on Vergonia flags.
Next year at the same event, Lauren walks up to her and she's like, "There is a 5-year statute of limitations on copyright violation. And I'm going after those people who made the flag with my flag.
It's my flag.
Vergonia on them. Vergonia on them." Folks, it's your support that makes this show possible. We could be producing so much more content like this with your help. You can become a member. Join themajorityreport.com. When you do, you not only get the free show free of commercials, but you also get the fun half. Join themajorityreport.com. Also, don't forget justcoffee.coop. Fair trade coffee. Hot chocolate. Majority Report blend. Use the coupon code majority, get 10% off. Justcoffee.coop. Because it's a co-op. Emma.
On ESPN yesterday, we talked about the Celtics Mavs, Panthers Oilers so far in the two championships, what's going on with Kyrie Irving, and why the Celtics are so dominant right now. And also the WNBA collectively and media reacted to the women's U.S. Olympics roster the WNBA reacted fine, but the media pundits decided to be entirely unhinged about it. YouTube.com/ESPN show. Matt, what's happening on Left Reckoning?
Yeah, tonight we got Ben Fong on the show once again, and we're talking about the Odd Fellows, which is like a sort of fraternal organization. You ever heard of them? At one time, they were one of the biggest in the country, and so kind of the legacy of fraternal organizations, and sort of along the lines of the Theta Scotch Paul decline of civic organizations and what that means for society and politics. So tonight, patreon.com/Left Reckoning. Oh, we'll also talk about Jimmy Dore people harassing Jill Stein.
Is that right?
Apparently she's selling them out. If you can.
Who's left? Who are they supporting now?
I don't know. Cornell West?
No,
why not?
Cornell's too woke for them.
Oh.
If you know what I mean. So.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an RFK kind of thing going on.
Is it RFK or is it
It's kind of RFK. I mean, for fundamentally, it's just
They've got to find
pure
some-
negation. They can't be positive.
They're going to find somebody who is on absolutely no ballots to vote for.
And then feel sold
It's
out
going to
by
be a
them.
write-in.
Vote your conscience.
We raised a lot of money to write in your name as a presidential candidate.
Jimmy Dore could have ran, but his wife didn't let him.
I know it. And that producer probably too.
It's also hard when you have to go on the road with vaccine injuries.
Wait a second. No. Wait. Happy news. Did you guys already talk about Demi Jor tweeting out that video American College of Pediatricians in it they state that trans minors should be able to receive health care? And Dor just snidely remarks, LOL, I'm sure they're all phobes.
Yeah, it was that sort of right-wing group of pediatricians who make sure they wear their lab coats when they make press conferences. And Jimmy's like, oh, you probably think these are bigots. And it's like, yeah, those are. Those are not that's not the actual major pediatrics organization.
In it, they state that trans minors should be able to receive health care.
I think that's a mistype because
Oh, okay.
they're attacking trans care. I'm like,
Yeah.
All right, folks. See you in the fun half.
You are in for it.
All right, folks. 646-257-3920. See you in the fun half.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you could imagine.
The alpha males are back. Boys back. And the alpha males are back.
Just want to degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Snowflake says what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
Oh no, Sam Seder! What a fucking nightmare!
Bring back DJ Denner.
Yeah, or a couple of them. Just put them in rotation.
DJ Denner.
well, the problem with those is they're like 45 seconds long, so I don't know if they're enough of a break.
That's fucking nonsense. You see white people doing drugs, they look worse than normal white people, and all white people look disgusting.
And the alpha males,
psych, fuck them. Snowflake says what? Snowflake says what?
A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. Okay, I'm making stupid money. Hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank.
All lives matter. Have you tried doing an impression on a college campus?
I think that there's no reason why reasonable people across the divide can't all agree with this. Psych.
and the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black African, and the alpha males are black. And the Africans are back.
When you see Donald Trump out there, doesn't a little part of you think that America deserves to be taken over by jihadists? Keeping it 100.
Can't knock the hustle.
Come on, fuck 'em. Things I do for the bigger game plan. By the way, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me, Jew boy. I have a thought experiment for you.
And the alpha males are back. Africans are black. Alpha males are black. Africans are back.
Come on. Come on. Someone needs to pay the price for blasphemy around here.
I am a total pussy.
We're back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the fun half. Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland, here on the Majority Report. fun half. As you know, the vice president's sweepstakes for Donald Trump is ongoing. Here, you can put up this picture. We have the Senator Rubio, Senator Vance. What's that?
The Fox News player won't let you see it,
Oh,
so it'll be
Well,
blurry. But
it's
you can see.
Rubio, Vance, Burgum, Tim Scott, Ben Carson. I didn't even know he was still around. Representative Stefanik, Representative Donalds, and Tom Cotton. I honestly think it's got to be J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I mean, Rubio, I do not think is being seriously considered. I think that he wanted a.
Tim Scott's not being, and neither is Ben Carson.
Right.
And neither is Donalds. And
Tim Scott's maybe potentially because he's been such a sycophant and he's been actually involved, but I do think it's still just for cynical purposes. He wants a rich guy that can help him with, I think, some of his legal issues. And Vance and Burgum have a lot of money. Cotton's too much of a fascist. Stefanik is not a 10. And she's also from New York State, so I don't know why he would do that.
No, the reason why I think it's going to be Vance is because that is a conduit to Wall Street money.
Yeah. Peter
And
Thiel.
it is the closest sort of connection you can get to like sort of the establishment of the Republican Party and the big money. And it's a guy and
Ohio too, right? That's a state that matters a bit more.
Yeah, and certainly that region anyways. I mean, theoretically, maybe has some influence over Michigan. I doubt it, but, that's part of the thinking. But there's nobody else there. There's nobody there from a state that is like, a purple state, right? I mean, so it's not like that. And there's very little evidence that a VP pick can win a specific state for you, regardless of where they're from. But this is interesting. Here is J.D. Vance explaining what's on. What happens when you get vetted, and some interesting questions because I was under the impression that some recent events for Donald Trump actually help him.
Go ahead, Steve. I was just going to say we've heard that some of them have been asked to submit documents to be vetted. You're not at that level yet.
Well, so look, they've asked us for a number of things. I think that a number of people have been asked to submit this and that.
Like your taxes or something?
I don't know everything they've been asked. But yeah, I mean, certainly have you committed a crime? Have you ever lied about this? Certainly you have those conversations, but I think a lot of people.
Pause it. Now, is that a threshold that you have to get into the next round? You have to have lied, committed fraud and committed a crime? Go back, because those are the two things that we know that Donald Trump at this point has both done. He's been convicted of a crime, and it was not coincidentally.
I feel like you're at a disadvantage, though, if you don't ask him about it and say, look, you can choose who you want, but I'd like to be considered, because I'm sure there's some on that list that are vetting themselves.
Yeah, the way I think about it, Ainsley, is the vice presidency is an important job to help the administration, to help the president, most importantly, help the country. And my attitude towards it is, if it comes to me, great, but it's not something I'm going to lobby for. I don't think that's the right attitude to take towards it. And, maybe Trump respects that. Maybe he doesn't, but that's ultimately his call.
The one thing I know separates you from the...
Wait, what happened to the...
Don't ask him about it and say,
No,
look,
where's the vetting
You can
part?
choose who you want.
You look at Doug, you look at Marco Rubio, you look at Tim Scott. These are all fundamentally good and decent people, and I think all of them would make a fine vice president.
Go ahead, Steve. I was just going to say we've heard that some of them have been asked to submit documents to be vetted. You're not at that level yet.
Well, so look, they've asked us for a number of things. I think that a number of people have been asked to submit this and that.
Like your taxes or something?
I don't know everything they've been asked. But yeah, I mean, certainly have you committed a crime? Have you ever lied about this? Certainly you have those conversations, but I think a lot of people are having those conversations. Do you feel like you're at
All right, so there you go. I mean, have you lied about this? Like, for instance, have you lied on your business recordings of what your expenditures have been?
Right.
Or have you committed a crime and been convicted of it?
I mean, why is Dinesh D'Souza not under consideration if we're going for the felon ticket?
I was going to say, it's the thing is I can't, are they vetting it to see that, to make sure that you have one? I want someone with two felony convictions. I want 68 indictments.
Can someone be in the process of potentially getting convicted of a felony? Is George Santos open to potentially joining the ticket? I don't know.
All right. Any misdemeanors?
Any.
Also, spare me, JD Vance, with that he's going to wait for it to come to him. Why is he in New York City on Fox and Friends right now as they're talking about the VP pick on the Chiron below?
Well, that's what's funny about that answer is he's like, oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are being. He's trying to downplay it while also put his hand in the ring at the exact same time.
I think he also knows that they're all, Trump is all their daddy, and they're also afraid of they don't want to piss off daddy, but they also don't want to feel like they're not being deferential enough to him. So you got to sort of everybody's got their angle about how much they're going to suck up to him. But they also all know that there's a line where you're sucking up too much and he just starts to feel annoyed with you. He got so dismissive of Chris Christie. It's that type of thing that's going on. Where is Chris Christie these days?
Good question. He's probably, I don't know, doing some media training for an MSNBC gig down the line. A Republican who hates Trump. We don't have enough of those on TV, apparently.
This was impressive. What do you do if you're a MAGA candidate and you don't want to answer any policy questions whatsoever? Well, somebody has figured it out. This is a guy named Chuck Hand. Apparently, was he... He was, my understanding is he was at January 6th. I don't know if he was actually prosecuted for it, but this is Chuck Hand. He's a candidate in Georgia, Republican congressional primary. Here, this is how he reacts. I guess he's running against the incumbent. He was convicted of a misdemeanor outside the Capitol.
Mr. Hand, Congress is currently working on a new farm bill, which will have a big impact on the 2nd District. What are your thoughts on the current House Republican plan? And specifically, would you support?
He's being asked a question about agriculture policy, which, I would imagine come from Georgia, big deal. And I get the sense that this is a rural district. And he appears to... He's at least dressing like a farmer. I don't know. I don't want to offend Kowalski in any way. But here is...
this should be in his wheelhouse, is your point.
This should be in his wheelhouse.
Hi, Mr. Hand. Congress is currently working on a new farm bill, which will have a big impact on the 2nd District. What are your thoughts on the current House Republican plan? And specifically, would you support the controversial proposal to cut food aid for low-income Americans?
I'm Chuck Hand, lifelong resident of the 2nd District. I've worked side by side with the people of the 2nd District, solving problems since 2018.
Wow, 6
I've
years.
only seen this man next to me come around when it's election time, wanting to run for office. I've been wearing tires slam out in Southwest Georgia, meeting with voters and building relationships in our communities for years now. I'm not interested in debating the issues of the 2nd District with a man who doesn't even reside in it, especially one who orchestrates attacks on my wife. I'm more concerned about beating Sanford Bishop, representing you, and passing the America First agenda and putting Donald Trump back in the White House. This race is very simple. It's either 8th District money or 2nd District heart. The choice is yours. It's the dollar versus the change. Now, this is where I get back in my truck and head back to Southwest Georgia because I got two races to win.
Thank you very much. Doug Reardon, you're not staying, sir? Are you leaving?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I'm so moved right now. What an act of bravery.
Smooth move.
Running away from questions to be an elected representative.
I'm not going to answer no question about agriculture policy. Dollar change. I like that line, actually. It's pretty good. I hope that guy wins. I mean, I had the primary anyways.
I'm realizing that Georgia's primary was actually last week and he lost.
Oh, well.
Oh, no. That didn't work?
No.
Turns out sometimes people want to hear
By 12?
what you're going to do for them.
By 12%. 4,000 votes.
How many people voted total? That is a real
31,000. So not a whole lot.
That is a real disappointment. Well, I guess we know for anybody running for office in the future, that strategy's been attempted already.
God.
Well, that's too
Like
bad.
Caterpillar hat.
Let's go to IM's Nolito. Already read that. Hopeful one. Gee, we have a ton of German heritage, and I'm nice. Zent is a family name. Come on, lady. 6 Foot Bear. Every time I see the Supreme Court in the news, I get excited to see Mark Joseph Stern again. Voight Lives Matter. I'm not voting for Hunter Biden anymore. Graham Page. I'm gladly voted for a convicted felon in November. Dave from Ohio. Hunter Biden's been found guilty as being cool as F. No, number 13, I honestly pity the amount of aggrievement the Alitos feel, despite all the resources and influence they possess at their old age. They are still clearly very full of anger. So many people need therapy. DSA from Aaron, Jesus Christ, my state sucks. Literally every Georgia white man right there.
Yeah.
Oh, and sorry, I looked a little bit closer, guys. Good news. Sorry, that was a Georgia runoff. So Chuck Hand is still in contention.
Oh, okay.
He just got second in the runoff. I thought it meant he lost. But
Okay.
they have a runoff coming.
They have a
up.
runoff.
Yeah.
All right,
So
was this debate?
this debate was for the runoff. So that's
for
why,
the
yeah,
runoff.
yeah,
Okay,
so-
that explains it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He ran off.
Oh.
Touche. Hack all things. Stop reading IMs and insult libertarians so they call in to own you in the marketplace of ideas of Coconut Island. Look, I'll reiterate this. I don't care if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Rumble. It doesn't matter. If you're a libertarian and you want to call in and discuss anything, I'm happy to. It doesn't have to be a debate. It can be just a discussion of your ideas. Now, I will explore those ideas. I'm not going to interrogate you as if you're a suspect, but I'm going to interrogate your ideas because I think they're silly and childish. I don't know all of them, but it's conceivable. I'm sure some of them are good ideas, but most of them are childish and baby-brained. John from T-Berg. Someone really needs to work with J.D. Vance on his eye makeup when he appears on television. Too much more, and he'll violate Ohio's legislature's proposed anti-drag laws.
I've heard people say that he wears eyeliner or
It's very strange.
I don't think he does. I think there's just sometimes people with really dark eyelashes. It's like that guy from The Dark Knight, that one actor. But I don't think so, unfortunately.
Dave the Brainworm. Why does both the Dems and the Republicans have someone in the news for being convicted and also knowing the truth about their junk as well? $200 lunch. I'm in Bowman's district getting bombed with flyers and commercials every half inning of every Yankees game. Yeesh. Nolan from the Detroit suburbs. Michigan primary on August 6th for U.S. Senate. Seems like Hill Harper is the progressive candidate at first glance, running on universal health care, climate change, and ending the filibuster. Those are all good things. Toma Flink. Happy Newsday Tuesday, folks. Here in Britain, Labour Party leader Sir Keir Starmer has accused the Tories of running on a Corbyn-style manifesto.
Yeah.
Every time I think Starmer can't go any lower, that two-faced shithead finds a way to do just that. Also, if you think that Starmer being prime minister will solve Britain's problems, then you don't get to accuse leftists of selling unicorns.
Starmer's what would happen if every APAC Democrat got what they want with regards to removing Ilhan and Tlaib out of the party and then started operating. It's literally what happened to Labour. They purged it because of the Holocaust remembrance definition of anti-Semitism, which conflates criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. And now you have the Labour leader saying the Tories are like Jeremy Corbyn.
Light Paladin. I'm glad that you reported the crime statistics in the opening because Anna Kasparian has taken to saying that crime isn't down as much because people aren't reporting crimes and cops are not reporting their statistics, which to me sounds just like a child closing their eyes and saying, I can't see. I haven't seen her say that, but that would be silly because what would be the theory as to why people aren't reporting crime as much as they did last year? Right? I mean, because we're looking at a trend. I don't know what the actual raw, data is, and I don't even know if that's what people report. But why would people underreport by 24% in 2024 as opposed to 2023? Like, you need to have a story for that at least. It's not, you don't have any data to prove it. It's just a gut feeling. But even like if it's just a gut feeling, you should have a story for it.
And perhaps it's also just like maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen it either, but LA has changed their website in terms of their reporting. But as we mentioned in our segment earlier, like the fact that it's around 73% of like the police authorities that have sent this data in, the amount of crime that would have to be in the remaining precincts, police departments for that, like it would have to be well above the national trends in order for that to shift the narrative of all of these crimes, violent crimes, rapes, murders, declining when you compare it to the period last year. And I think it's also just like, I don't know, again, what the argument is from her, but from right-wingers, you see it's basically implied that it's the George Floyd protests that incentivize that, but that doesn't explain the difference between 23 and 24.
There was, it reminds me of when people were talking about the kerning on the George Bush letter from when he was, he avoided service by going into the National Guard, and they were saying it's a fake letter. I've checked the kerning on the typewriter, or like the unskew the polls.
Because the kerning thing, that was a plant, right? Wasn't that fake evidence planted to make Rather?
Karl Rove did a rat F, as it were.
Right. But it's very unskew the polls.
Not Nick Fuentes. First, police officers are found to be part of a right-wing militias and white supremacist groups, and now the Supreme Court justices and most judges are part of the right-wing think tanks. Nothing is independent of collective interest anymore. By the way, I recommend listening to Gavin Project with its song I'm Not Lazy, available at streaming platforms. Left is best. A Square. Sam, Emma, they're playing the Bowman ads that AIPAC and big donor money is funding in the tri-state area constantly. Glad Bowman is fighting. Joyanne Reed had him on her show last week to comment on Congress's dysfunction and asked him the question on should Bibi address Congress, which he answered categorically no. But the segment was with Swallow, too, so too bad no time to discuss the disgusting primary challenge. Praying he makes it.
Yeah, those United Democracy Project ones are especially insidious. They never mention Israel, but they were all over the Knicks playoff games. And then also, I was there's a huge billboard for United for them in Williamsburg.
AI trained on news radio. What the hell, Sam? My mom is going to live forever. Susan, age 7. I don't follow. High value Kowalski. That guy dresses like a hipster. What a hipster thinks a conservative farmer would dress like. Pretty sure he's just from the suburbs and playing dress up.
Yeah.
As a Midwestern farmer, though, our culture is very different from the South. Nebraska, by value, is the third most productive agricultural state in the union, behind only California, Iowa, and we beat Texas. I'm not even sure if Georgia's in the top 20. Georgia's not a good place to get ag-friendly policymakers from. They're completely bought off by the meatpacking lobby, so the Southwest, it has some of the worst water quality in the nation. My area bought off by dairy and ethanol. Sam's massive jugs. Look at me, Baron. It's all for you.
That's a Omen reference.
Free Palestine. Reports coming from U.S. Special Forces were involved in Nusra refugee camp, and that firsthand accounts claim Americans committed war crimes in addition to indiscriminately slaughtering children that involve executing families in front of children, putting out cigarettes on the back of the necks of those children. I have not seen anything like that in terms of being reported. I have seen reports that there are Israeli soldiers who are American who wear American flags on their uniforms.
Yep, I saw those reports too. I figured, it's still not verified quite yet, but the idea that the United States might have, the United States probably assisted in terms of intelligence for this operation that was essentially to rescue those 4 hostages and potentially killing others, they just carpet bombed an entire market so that the IDF would have a safe space to go in and do and get the hostages, which is a war crime. You can't do that. But if the United States assisted in that while at the same time trying to push for a ceasefire,
I find that hard to believe. But
I find it hard to believe, maybe from boots on the ground, but I think we are always providing military intelligence, to Israel.
Hiroshima has Emma watched Dark Knight recently? Multiple Batman references in this episode.
You know what? I guess I was thinking about the Dark Knight recently. I don't know why.
Let's do this Tim Pool. This is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, before we play this clip, I just want to remind you, it is June. June is typically the 6th month of the year. Typically in a year, we have 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And
slow down.
Typically, Christmas falls in late December.
The 12th month.
The 12th month. So it's June 10th, so not exactly, but we are almost within days as far away from Christmas as you can possibly be temporally at any given time.
In a cycle, yep.
We're on Jesus Christ's half birthday. It's approaching.
Exactly. Now, that is typically not celebrated as a specific holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But, as I say, it is never too early or too late to wage the war on Christmas. And here is Tim Pool.
Yeah. So now that you understand that, it is American to a certain degree. But anyway, my point is, I'm kidding. My point is, happy holidays is like saying it's food day. Happy holidays, it's like you're not celebrating anything at all. There's no celebration. It's just like you're doing a thing. So imagine you had Taco
Pause
Tuesday.
it for 1 second. So happy holidays, wishing someone happy holidays is like saying it's food day. Now, food is something that we eat every day.
If we're lucky.
And so that's sort of banal.
Uh-huh.
Now, holidays, they're not every day. They're specifically holiday, I believe, I may be wrong about this, actually is derived from holy day.
Mm-hmm.
And if every day was holy day, then no days would be holy day. So it's really not like food day. I don't know what food day is, but I'm trying to follow what he's saying here. And of course, again, reminder, June.
Yeah.
It's not Mexican food. Yeah. So now that you understand that, it is American to a certain degree. But anyway, my point is, I'm kidding. My point is, happy holidays is like saying it's food day. Happy holidays, it's like you're not celebrating anything at all. There's no celebration. It's just like you're doing a thing. So imagine you had Taco Tuesday, but some people came over to your house and you're like, no, from now on, we're doing Food Tuesday. It's like food. It's like, well, we eat food all the time. We celebrate things for various reasons, but today's Christmas.
They take the fun out of everything. They take the detail. Everything has to be vague to try to fit into a box because why? Because that box doesn't offend anybody.
No, they want to get rid of Christmas. They want to get rid of Christmas because of the culture.
Right.
100%.
It's anti-Santa.
Because Christmas offends non-Christians, right? And it's always about how do we
No. It's not the offense.
It's not that it offends non-Christians. I also like where he says, they're trying to make it so broad so they can put it in a box. It's like, all right, well, fixed one.
What are
It's
they
kind of the
disagreeing
opposite.
about?
They're basically saying that, I don't think they're disagreeing.
It seems like they are.
They are.
They're about to disagree as to who is manipulating the Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas program.
Gotcha.
And I have been doing this for 20 years. And this has been ongoing. This is, and I will say the only innovation here is that you have people under the age of 65 complaining about it. Like this used to be, Bill O'Reilly's Ballywick.
And also
the war on Christmas.
Yes.
The seculars are coming because I don't know if you've ever been in America after, forget Thanksgiving. Now it's like after after Halloween. And you've seen how there's no celebration of Christmas. You can't see Christmas lights. You can't see people saying Merry Christmas. The Christmas tree, you never see those anymore. Nobody ever has a Christmas tree anywhere anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I wish younger people understood. It used to be there were Christmas trees and Christmas sales, and now nothing.
And Flintstones Christmas.
It's like trying to tell a kid who's 10 years old what life was like before the internet. And that's
Exactly.
like when we used to have Christmas.
Exactly. We used to have to take cash out of the bank and talk to a teller.
I mean, nobody is offended by Christmas. Again, that's what they keep saying. No one's offended by Christmas. But if you keep going up to somebody who, say, is Muslim or Jewish or doesn't celebrate Christmas, celebrates something else, and you say Merry Christmas to them, they may get offended. So Happy Holidays is just a social nicety to make sure you're not offending anybody. But apparently it's also repressive and ruining our culture.
I mean, half of this content is for people who are never around anyone besides Christians.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
Or anti-Santa.
Well, because Christmas offends non-Christians, right? And it's always about how do we
No,
not offend them?
no. It's not the offense. It's the fact that Christmas brings people together.
I would agree.
Well, hold on.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Christmas doesn't offend non-Christians. It offends communists.
Oh.
I know a lot of I know people who are Muslim. They're just like that's great. That's awesome that you celebrate. I don't celebrate that. And then I know people who are Jewish. Oh, that's I'm Buddhist. I know a Hare Krishna guy. They're not mad about it. It is communists who are very, very upset about it, and partly because it brings people together. It forms communal bonds, and it is a tie to the roots of your moral foundation.
One of the things that communists hate are things that bring people together.
Communists hate community.
They hate communal things.
Doing things communally.
It is the case that communists aren't huge fans of religion, but let's be clear. Do people celebrate Christmas as, the idea that there is that communists are railing against Christmas because it's too religious.
I think it's the commercialness, not the community.
Ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
But also, let's also be clear. Where are all these communists that are doing this? Are they the ones who are running all of the big corporations?
Joe Biden.
Or are they the ones who are running all of the big TV networks? Like, where are the communists where they get to be in charge of Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas? I feel like, and I am not a communist, I don't want to speak for anybody, but I feel like communists probably have some higher priorities than we could try and get nationalization of the means of production. Or we could get things like, a single payer healthcare system, or, not a payer, rather a single provider of healthcare system, or even further, I guess. But let's start with Happy Holidays.
The last DSA convention was ripped apart over the question of should we force Macy's to say Happy Holidays in all their promotional Christmas stuff.
I mean, he really is just doing like old McCarthyism and 1950s style conservatism about basically saying that it's the commies that are godless and they're coming for your culture. It's just redux.
DSA from Atlanta, Marxist Leninist here, effing love Christmas. But yeah, well, you're not a communist. You're a Marxist Leninist.
It is communists who are very, very upset about it, and partly because it brings people together. It forms communal bonds, and it is a tie to the roots of your moral foundation that they need to destroy.
Absolutely.
And so those communists, though, I would agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. The communists then go and pressure the corporations, right? You're offending people. You can't say happy holidays. That's what you have to say, right? It's all these pressure points. But yeah, it does go back to that. It's a great point.
Who is that idiot?
Not
His name is Cliff Maloney. I've never heard of him.
AKA Lame Gillis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I for a second thought it was Shane Gillis too, but it's not. It's this guy Cliff Maloney. I've never heard of him.
Well done, Matt. Yeah, I get these communists have so much influence, and when they
Corporations are powerless against the
against communists. Yeah, the robust communist movement in America right now.
Was Kid Rock wearing the hammer and sickle when he shot up those Bud Light cans?
He might as well have, right? That's the only way you get the corporations to listen. They're
is there
very
any
dumb.
more that's worth listening to this, or no? Have they agreed that that's what it is?
They've agreed.
Unbelievable.
That's what the
I like
battle of
having a
ideas.
meaningless
Johnny
conversation.
Casper, as a Christian communist, I would like to say all of the dozens of us love Christmas. That's amazing. That's amazing. They could actually, never mind that anybody under the age of like 75 could have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that they're going to have it in June.
And then be like, oh, yes, no, actually, your point is the real correct one. Shut up, you loser.
Communists are controlling corporations. That is nice. Communists control corporations, and the one thing they go for is the Happy Holidays thing.
Because the communists want to undercut community and coming together.
Yeah, we hate it.
DSA Aaron from Atlanta. Can Tim really be this stupid? Yes.
Yep.
It's just stunning. Like, we have another clip of Dave Rubin, and it's maybe we should just wait another day to spread it out. But he's so dumb.
And they're just filling time. Like, they just operate on some sort of like, it's like they are a language model just spitting out the same BS.
Yeah.
It's the most, he's the most unsympathetic, stupid guy I've ever met. Or not even met. I guess I don't know if I've ever met Dave Rubin. I don't think so. Steven Crowder has been really lost, I think.
Yeah.
For a while now. And I don't know how things are going with his new business enterprise. But I feel like when you've got to have full-on fascists come onto your show, yeah, you may be like feeling a little bit like desperate. Here is Steven Crowder speaking with British politician Nigel Farage. Are they going to go into how well Brexit working out, or what?
I think he just sort of revived his political career, Farage. Now he's like running for parliament again.
Oh, wow.
So maybe a big get for Stephen, actually.
But yeah, when you think about it, okay, fine, sure, nation of immigrants. But people came here at one point, whether it's the Irish.
Pause it. I should just say, of course, this is going to be an extremely manly conversation because they both have cigars.
Ooh, and a lumberjack shirt for
Yeah, he's
Steven.
trying to really butch it up.
Gotta perform your gender, baby.
I would just point out that Farage represents a monarchy and Crowder's supposed to represent a republic. But anyway.
Caffeinated when you put it in context. So imagine what they would have done. But yeah, when you think about it, okay, fine, sure, nation of immigrants. But people came here at one point, whether it's the Irish, Jews from Europe at one point in time, Italians, right? They came here with a promise of nothing. It was a risk that they were taking to try and build a life that's very different
Pause it
from
for one
a country
second.
that has.
What about the Chinese? Like there was like just going to go through various semi-white people who made it into white. Like.
Also not true remotely. But if you look at the type of materials that were used to recruit people to make the voyage from Europe to America, it was all, look at all this farmland we'll give you if you're European.
100%.
Yeah.
Look at all the opportunity. It wasn't because I get promised nothing, so I'm going to uproot myself from my entire family and continent and go try my luck in America.
Right.
Irish, Jews from Europe at one point in time, Italians, right? They came here with a promise of nothing. It was a risk that they were taking to try and build a life that's very different from a country that has a welfare state where people are coming to benefit from that social safety net.
So, Milton Friedman, the high priest of free markets. And people say, but Nigel, how can you want to limit immigration if you believe in free markets? Even Milton Friedman said, you cannot have the free movement of peoples around the world all the while you have a social security system.
Right. That's exactly right.
Exactly right.
Well, that's why when you say you're a libertarian, I remember spending quite a bit of time in D.C. and had a lot of friends who worked, for example, at Reason Magazine. And they believed in open borders. They believed that borders are just kind of it's sort of an antiquated idea. And many of them ended up voting for Obama, which surprised me, where I said, oh, okay, so if libertarian in the States means it can include at one point in time, Glenn Beck, Greg Gutfeld, and Bill Maher, I was like, this doesn't really mean anything. So I would tend to be considered more libertarian, but I just say conservative.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm libertarian in a sense. I do not want the government telling me whether I can smoke a cigarette in a local pub. I don't want government telling me whether I can hunt foxes at weekends. If that's what I want to do, if that's my thing, I should be allowed to do it. And I think, during the pandemic, we reached a level of government control we'd never seen even in wartime.
It's true.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really was.
Pause it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of real stupidity in here. I'm a libertarian, except for when it means that it's going to interfere with my racism or xenophobia. But I sort of feel like at wartime, we actually have seen some pretty serious restrictions. I mean, I can't speak about the British, but I seem to remember if you were Japanese during World War II, it wasn't just you were forced to wear a mask. You were forced to actually go into concentration camps.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure Crowder will bring that up.
Or if you were a troop under George Washington, you had to get vaccinated.
I mean, things like that. Things like that.
I mean, my family story is this idea that we can't do immigration now that there's a social safety net. My family came to North Dakota not because of North Dakota, just the weather. It was because they were given land under the Homestead Act within walking distance of where Sitting Bull gave himself up to authorities in northwestern North Dakota. That was quite a nice safety net. You can just have some land.
But you weren't able to go into the local doctor with your Medicaid card, right?
Right.
In what was that, like 18 what?
Like 1906.
I mean, that's a thing. They didn't have, and of course, we didn't have Social Security at that time. There was welfare. It just, it was called land. That was basically it. Idiots.
Yeah, we'd never seen even in wartime.
It's true.
It's unbelievable.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it really was.
Not even in World War II did government limit people's lives like that.
Have you seen the awakening in the UK, in Europe, that we've seen in the United States? Because I will tell you.
What's that thing where they make you go to war?
The draft.
Right. Okay. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Does that limit somebody's life when you're a male of a certain age, and if you don't have the money or the connections to get out of it, you're going to be sent overseas to fight a war?
What's that thing where they say, we're going to give you tickets and you're going to be able to get this amount of sugar or this amount of butter?
Yeah. You know what's
rationing? We had rationing during World War II. I imagine they had it in Britain as well.
Well, speaking of World War II, I don't know if Farage knows anything about this, but at the end of World War II, the British people voted Winston Churchill out and started the National Health Service.
No way. People's lives like
Have
that.
you seen the awakening in the UK, in Europe, that we've seen in the United States? Because I will tell you, I've not seen more people have the veil lifted who are apolitical or who are liberal than COVID. I mean, moms with children in schools. But I come from Canada. I was raised where a lot of my friends back home, they still don't get it. In America, people get it. Is it the same thing in the UK where a lot of people
I think something very, as I say, I was the first lockdown I could live with. I saw the scenes in Milan, and I thought, wow, is this the 1919 flu? I think we all did. I didn't mind locking down for a couple of weeks.
I was the only one who didn't.
No, I was okay with that. Let's find out what it is. Yeah. All right? Let's find out what it is.
Pause it
but
real
after
quick.
that,
Crowder, when he says, I'm the only one who don't think it is, Crowder was predicting that there would be similar amount of death as the typical flu. So that is what he thought, just to put it.
Missed it by that much.
Out what it is. All right, let's find out what it is. But after that, the second lockdown, I thought was, quite frankly, my second and third lockdowns, I just ignored it completely. It was great.
Oh yeah,
I could drive down the motorway fast. There were no cars on the road.
Right. Yeah.
Can you pause it?
Well, we did.
So, okay, we're talking about
First
the
of all,
level.
we didn't have a second lockdown.
Yeah, but okay, but he's contradicting his own thesis in his statement there that we've never seen such an authoritarian crackdown on liberties since COVID. And he's saying, but though, that he had the ability to disregard it and drive around and do whatever the hell that he wanted. That's a little bit different than people who were, say, forced to serve in Vietnam, or Japanese people who were forced to go into internment camps in this country against their will.
Or even like what China did to react to COVID.
Right. But anyway.
When that happened, that's where we did the Mug Club quarantine month, was our biggest month of growth. The very first lockdown, everyone was, including conservatives, in their basement. We said we're doing 2-a-days. We did 2 shows a day because I knew people were locked at home. And I can't tell you how many conservatives whose names I won't provide right now call me saying, this is really irresponsible. You shouldn't be running the crew. I'm like, well, guess what? They all decided they want to work. They saw the ride. They bought a ticket anyway. But do you think that in the UK...
Big con.
We haven't talked about Steven Crowder for a long time. Is this the guy who is suing all of his ex-employees to shut up and not tell stories? And the guy who was all sorts of leaks about how poorly he treated his workers? Is that the same guy, or am I mistaken?
Big Tech is in bed with Big Con.
Yes. The guy that allegedly couldn't stop putting his testicles onto his employees.
That's what's been reported.
Yeah, well.
Want to work. They saw the ride. They bought a ticket anyway. But do you think that in the UK there has been that foundational shift where people realize that they were lied to?
We've woken up. We've woken up on the fact we were lied to. The other thing, and I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this, as some people have done, but there can be little doubt that some of the vaccines that were produced just weren't vaccines. And I remember, and I had the first 2. You know why?
Oh, nerd.
You know why? I wanted to come to America. All right. This is my 4th trip here this year already.
Right.
So I'm in America. 7, 8, 9, 10 times a year.
I guess being in America with a 3rd nipple is better than not being able to.
So I had the first 2. Then it came to the booster, and I did it on my TV show. I said, right, I'm going to debate over the next week whether I should have the booster. And I was being texted. I was being emailed.
I don't even want to hear this anymore. This is so stupid. So stupid. What is he saying? That the after I took the first 2, the 3rd one had the 3G technology.
Yeah, who cares, you moron?
So dumb. So dumb.
But that's a conspiracy theory that you often hear about vaccines, is that they were placebos for some people in order to test out something or other. I don't know, but
what is this one?
I'd have to look further into it, but I remember vaguely reading about it before our conversation last week with Debunk the Funk Dr. Dan Wilson, that there's some anti-vax conspiracy theories that they were actually placebos or something to that effect. So it sounds like he did go down the rabbit hole. Let's be real.
I mean, he knows that the people he's appealing to are insane on this, and so that's why you have to do this. Yeah, no, I got the first 2, but then I got Y's.
And I love Crowder, who's like, well, all right, well, this was a bio weapon, but it's okay if you needed it to get into the country.
Yeah,
it's just they're so insane. What else we got here? Oh, this is interesting. It's a little bit. Let's put up this. The AF Post, which is America First Post, put up a part of a poll of American Jews. This poll, I think, was back in April, I believe. Although they took it in April, but it's been released now, from March 12th to April 6th. I'm not sure why they're putting it out now. But who will you vote for in 2024? Biden gets 61%. Donald Trump, 23%. Someone else, 10%. Will not vote, 6%. Donald Trump, I think, did better in 2020 than 23% in 2024.
He had apparently 30% of the Jewish vote in 2020.
So he's actually lost 7% of the vote. Which of the two major party candidates would be better for U.S.-Israel relationship? Joe Biden, 49%, Donald Trump, 25%. This is not terribly shocking to me. Every year, every presidential election, we hear that Jewish voters are going to abandon the Democratic Party. They don't. They never do. And we're not going to see that this year. But the best part about this is to read the comments from the AF Post as we go through. We should say, trigger warning, not safe for work for some of these. The anti-Semitism amongst the America First crowd is rather large, and they can't figure out why Jews aren't going to vote for Donald Trump.
Might have something to do with that.
Let's see. Here we go. Wait. Go. The first one is somebody's complaining about Richard Grenell and Trump campaign going out of their way to pander to them, being the Jews, while America First slowly flees our President Trump.
I mean, they didn't conduct that poll. It was the American Jewish Committee that conducted that poll. They're just tweeting it out.
Oh, right. They're just tweeting it out. I just want to make clear about that.
Oh, great. Here we go.
A picture of Hitler. He's starting to notice a pattern.
Oh, great.
Says Hitler.
It's interesting how people who post Hitler stuff positively are always anonymous.
The right's greatest ally in that funky thing, talking about the Jews. Notice something yet? They're Democrats, and they run the plantations. Speaking of the Jews, time to dump them, Dawn. Oh, here's a nice picture.
Oh, my God.
Making America Great Again involves kicking out the Jew. Now, folks, we all know about the horrible anti-Semitism we're seeing from college students who are rallying against Israel.
Many of them Jewish, which is especially disturbing that they're displaying all this anti-Semitism.
That's the way that they do it. They're very, very clever. Oh, here we go. Torch. Oy vey, the chosen know. And they are the Trojan horse going into the Zionist control White House. Yet he still panders to them. That's an ad. This is amazing. Subversive traitors. I said, find my damn kippah now, says a picture of Hitler.
Don't even get that one.
That's an ad. Is this true, Jack Posobiec? And Jews are not the big demographic worth pandering to. The pandering is for the Republicans afraid to appear anti-Semitic.
Well,
I mean, it goes on and on, actually.
The good news for all of these anti-Semites that love Trump is that Trump is not trying to appeal to Jewish voters here when he repeatedly says that you can't be a real Jewish person and vote Democrat. Jewish Americans are one of the most consistent Democratic voting blocs in the country. So the results of this poll should not be shocking to folks. But the reality is that the Republicans are appealing to the Christian Zionist coalition. So this is why we talk about Zionism within the context of policy towards Israel. Because in terms of just the number of people in this country, the largest Zionist voting bloc that may not be their number one issue, but it's a part of their ideology, is Christian evangelicals. Because that's why the Republican Party, why Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is so adamantly pro-Israel. It's not just because they enjoy the fact that the United States is involved in killing a lot of Muslim people abroad for our own interests and because they're militaristic and hawkish. It's also because there is a very religious part of their constituency that believes that the Jews need to control Israel so that Jesus can come back.
All the Jews need to go back to
Israel. So back to Israel, and then that's when the Messiah will return, and 2/3 of the Jewish people will get sent to hell, and the fraction will get to sit on the right hand of God.
A third.
A third.
A full third of us. So
I know.
I've already reserved.
I know you've reserved.
Fraction is 1/8, Emma.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to be ungenerous to them in the amount of Jewish people that they want dead.
Accurately assess the odds here.
And that's why Christian Zionism is inherently, I would argue, an anti-Semitic belief system because it literally hinges on the fact
But it's only
that
two-thirds.
Two-thirds of Jews are going to die for their religious beliefs.
It's only 2/3, though.
Yeah.
So is it really anti-Semitic? Is it fully anti-Semitic?
And if you guys are not, if you don't believe what we're saying here, just look it up. The Christian fundamentalists in this country believe a lot crazier things than this, and this is a huge part of the Republican Party's commitment to Israel. So that's that. Enjoy.
Should we take one phone call? I think we got time. Hold on one second, folks. Get your dialing fingers ready. We're going to take one phone call, I think. Maybe we'll get to 646-257-3920. 646-257-3920. Sergeant Flux, when will Republicans get in their heads not to tell Jews how to vote? Short answer, never. Pair of socks. I needed at least 2 initial when you could first travel, and then Europe and the U.S. required 1 booster. Garrett's, the American College of Pediatrics is not the same as the American Academy of Pediatrics. The AAP is the real authority on pediatric medicine. The ACP has maybe 700 members. The ACP is as fashy as they seem. Tush Master Zero. Can you do some more dunking on Convict Don and his racist appeals to black voters? I think we'll get into that tomorrow because we're going to see if the right has the same formula when it comes to Hunter Biden.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Coal addict. You got vaccinated for your health. I got vaccinated to get the 5G chip and faster internet. We are not the same. Sam's Nigel Farage sounds a lot like Jason Statham. Did I say his name right? Statham?
Yeah, you're right. The action
Yeah.
star.
Saul likes that guy.
He's
From
good.
a 516 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, this is Kyle I'm calling from Florida.
Kyle from Florida. What's on your mind?
Well, you were talking earlier about J.D. Vance, and I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Curtis Yarvin. He's like the ideological guy between Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I've heard of him before.
Yeah, vaguely. Matt certainly does.
He's like an unironic monarchist that cites Nazis a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey. Why am I blanking? Corey Pine wrote a piece on him in the Baffler. Like, sort of, he's one of these guys. Like Chris Rufo was seen with him earlier. He's a big time fart sniffer, but they all think he's a philosopher.
Yeah, I mean, that's who, like, the Daily Wire crowd, when they were saying with these top intellectuals. And there's actually a Blaze host that believes the same thing. Like, had a YouTube channel all about, like, the Nazis being right, basically, and this guy. So it's a pervasive thing.
Not terribly surprised.
Yeah.
I really do think it's going to be J.D. Vance, but appreciate the phone call.
All right.
I guess we got to now relearn about all those like Peter Thiel adjacent freaks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I saw like Moldbug. I think Ben Burgess had a debate with him. I don't know if the caller mentioned that, but I think he's sort of a symptom as opposed to any kind of like cause of anything.
All right, we're going to go quick here with the phone calls. We'll be able to take more. Calling from a 732 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm pretty sure you got me on. This is Murphy from Jersey.
Murphy from Jersey. What's on your mind? Got to be quick.
All right. Real quick anecdote and then tied into the Hunter Biden thing. So during COVID, I was working for a restaurant doing food delivery, delivered to a famously MAGA household. It was like the middle of the summer, and I had a face mask on and gloves trying to follow all the guidelines. And there was 2 children in the front yard playing under the age of like 8 and 5. And the one boy goes, "Take that mask off. We don't wear masks at this house." And I look at it this way, where with Hunter Biden now, you wouldn't expect it, but there's this huge push from the right that are defending Hunter Biden because they're worried about his Second Amendment rights. It's
Yeah,
like this
Matt
constant
Gaetz.
drive to be a victim.
I saw Matt Gaetz was defending him today, or saying they don't agree with pursuing that charge at the very least.
It's the victim mentality, and it's just it seems pervasive and nonstop.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think it probably has some political value for them. That way they don't have to sound hypocritical about Trump.
Charlie Kirk is saying this is just like we said earlier, this is just the Biden crime family getting let off easy with a wrist slap.
Right. They want to make it into
Letting
that.
the air out of the tires.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing, he's not going to get anything substantial for this, for lying on a form to get a gun. But that's, I think, how they'll get out of it. Why aren't you investigating Burisma, the corruption there? And people just won't remember the details of that. Can I ask where in New Jersey this was?
By the shore. I don't work for them anymore.
Of
I don't
course,
want to dox anybody or anything. But that family also owns a restaurant, and they used to advertise right-wing things on their board outside, and they used to play Rush Limbaugh every Sunday at full volume while people were having Sunday dinner.
That sounds very unpleasant.
I'm dying to know what restaurant, but I won't.
And yet every journalist spent the entirety of COVID talking about how mean pro-maskers are to people who don't want a mask.
Right.
But that experience was by far the majority of where mask-related conflict happened.
Yeah.
Appreciate the phone call.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
All
right, we got time for one more.
Jersey Shore is very conservative, and it makes sense why that's where Alito's flag was flying. That's where his second home was.
Call from a 716 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? 716. Going once. 716 going twice. And gone back into the queue. Calling from a 330 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Sam. It's me, Sebastian Gorka. I was just calling straight from your mom's basement. Oh no, seriously now though. I'm calling from Highway 101, northbound. This is a place where, yes, northbound this is a region that occurred after the East Palestine train disaster. Just out of all the calamity this region came, where it is illegal to have expired car insurance, Sam.
Okay.
You do not want to be caught on these roads without insurance. For the goodwill of all combatants on the road, it is best to be up to form.
All right. All right. Well, Gorka, appreciate the phone call.
Yes, you all take care.
Thank you, sir.
The bravado. That's what it was with that one. It was good. It was.
That was a good
I don't know if it nailed the voice, but certainly nailed the spirit.
Yeah.
Calling from a 559 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Marcus Cummings? I think I'm on.
Yes. Marcus, where are you calling
Oh,
from?
okay, cool. Hi, I'm calling from Los Angeles, California. And I'll be quick. I just want to say you guys mean a lot to me. My wife is Palestinian, and we've been together 10 years. And I think it was a struggle because for a long time she would see the media just kind of twist things, and she always just felt like things were always so one-sided. And so the importance of like YouTube and how media has become so diversified to me is just like extremely important. Like I can't understate how much it means to me, how media has changed and how things have become so different than they used to be. Because I'm 30 years old. So I know how media used to be, and I've seen what it's become. And you guys it's just extremely important to me. I think it's, like I said, it can't be understated how much it means to me, how much it's meant to her to see that people have seen the other side, just that people have seen the other side. You know what I mean? So just want to thank you guys. I started listening to you guys a while ago, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for that. That's nice to hear.
I mean, you
Appreciate
could
it.
see that in the comments to when we have like Pape on or someone. People are just very thankful that
Right.
a side's being presented.
Well, I appreciate
Yes,
that.
yes, for sure.
All right.
Of
Well,
course, you guys have a great day.
you too. Appreciate the call. All right. We got time for one more call. Look at that. We were going to do one. Now we'll do 5. Calling from a 904 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Please be a libertarian. Please be a libertarian. 904.
Hello. Do you have a pencil? You write this down. I would like you to stick your head in a bucket of eels.
Okay. All right.
This is Gorka, Sam. Step Gorka.
Yes, I know.
I would like you soy boy. I would like you to write this down. Stick your head in a bucket of eels, Sam.
In a bucket of what?
Eels.
Eels.
Oh.
In a bucket of eels.
Eels. Sorry.
Gorka, you just
Eels, yeah,
called
eels.
2 minutes ago from a different number.
I know. It broke my heart. I was studying this all morning. It's all right. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate the call. There you go. Sorry. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
That was the most
I
efficient.
saw the Gorka's still on hold.
Yeah, we got like 12 Gorkas on hold right now. That sound signifies that we are done with the call-in portion of our program. We'll try and get to more tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm seeing people saying we still didn't get to the Julia Louis-Dreyfus
I
segment.
made a note for myself. We'll get to that tomorrow. I forgot about it totally.
She's like the one billionaire that we can get behind. Well,
No, she's not a billionaire.
She's her family. I think.
Oh, is that right?
Her dad may have been.
Because she's from like the very wealthy French Dreyfus family.
Oh,
Like-
that Dreyfus.
Oh,
Yeah.
was her?
Yeah, like-
She. Oh, I think I
right.
I heard something about that. Like
Yeah.
he's like was a cousin or.
Like the Dreyfus affair was some sort of like historical event in the early 1900s, and like that's.
Wait, do
her-
you not know what the Dreyfus affair?
No,
was?
I don't.
Oh, the Dreyfus affair was actually, like, in many respects, a big impetus for, I think it was Herzl's Zionism.
Herzl.
Oh, okay, got
Herzl
it.
thought Dreyfus was guilty.
Oh,
he did?
Yeah.
So that
was the reason we need to like get out of here because it's just not working out.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure
he was in Paris.
So I'm pretty
at the
sure
time.
that like those that like she's descendants of like those Dreyfuses.
Wait, Herzl thought Dreyfus was guilty?
Yeah, I'll have to look that up again, but I'm pretty sure Herzl was covering the Dreyfus affair within, and thought like, I mean, obviously thought Dreyfus was. I'll redouble on that, but I'm pretty sure Herzl was covering that and suspected that Dreyfus might have been actually guilty.
He might have been guilty, but the resentment towards the Jews was real regardless.
Was the bigger problem? Yeah.
That
That makes
that's
sense,
less,
and that's why they need their own state.
Yeah, like it's sort of like we're feedbacking into each other.
The Milrine Dreyfus funds, the asset managers? Really?
Yeah, no, she came from a ton of money, but like seemingly has good politics. I don't think she's,
Better than his.
better than Jerry. So, and the way what she talks about too is like the consolidation of wealth and power and money being the biggest threat to art versus cancel culture is 100% on the money. I mean, and that's all that matters, right?
Folks, we will talk more about the latest Dreyfus affair tomorrow. Bradley, Matt, Emma, great job today. Folks, see you tomorrow.
It might take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth and the light bar, but finding out won't make me feel any better. Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. I get somewhere the choice was made, for the option where you don't get paid, for the road that bends before it finally breaks you. I guess somehow I lost my drive between the 101 and the 5. Do you know how far the detour takes you? Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. shifted